who lives at the Laurels is a regular gardening fan. Her garden, though small, is the envy of all. I help her as much as I can. Whenever I'm passing the Laurels, and we chatter as gardeners do, I'm a little upset, for she seems to forget that I am a gardener too. I often drop in at the Laurels to lunch or to tea or to dine. She will talk of her flowers for hours and hours. You won't hear a word about mine. You won't hear a word about mine. I knew a girl who was so pure, she couldn't say the word manure. Indeed, her modesty was such, she wouldn't pass a rabbit hutch, and butterflies upon the wing would make her blush like anything. That lady is a gardener now, and all her views have changed somehow. She squashes green fly with her thumb and knows how little snowdrops come. In fact, the garden she has got has broadened out her mind a lot. A husband is the sort of man who tries to help you all he can, but somehow never quite succeeds in doing what the garden needs. He likes to lie and smoke his pipe and wonder if the pears are ripe, or else he'll smell the mignonette before he lights a cigarette. But ask him if he'll clean the dump or carry water from the pump, and he will find some fine excuse. In fact, he's not the slightest use. When I was, well, let's say, a little bit younger, behaviour of young girls was not so bold. We danced down at the Palais, or we queued to see a film, and thought if you were 30, you were old. But now I am, let's say, a bit maturer, a little more astute and worldly wise. I think that I can claim to be inscrutable, with a touch of feminine mystery in my eyes. Ah, youth is an attractive appetizer, the eager early bird who gets the worm. But businessmen might say you would be wiser in dealing with an old established firm. They search around for father's youngest daughter. This preference is hard to understand. Why paddle round in cold, uncharted waters when knowledgeable pilots are at hand? Yes, youth has lots of flame it needs to kindle. the worldly wise dependables, can only be us well-established firms. This morning went sick without warning. Just tell by the state that I'm in. I couldn't ask Jack, well, he's in bed with his back. Oh, thanks, dear, I'll just have a gin. The barmaid, that's Paula, sent no news at all, a sure sign she's living in sin. I couldn't ask Joan, well, she's not on the phone. Oh, thanks, dear, just a wee gin. I won't talk too loud. He said his bitter's cloudy, the one with the scar on his chin. I daren't show the fella the state of our cellar. Well, thanks, dear, 10 penn'orth of gin. I'm in such a state, the dustmen are late, the rubbish won't fit in the bin. I haven't a clue when the draymen are due. That's nice, dear, just make it a gin. I sent that young Frank on his bike to the bank with yesterday's take to pay in. He's not very bright, so I hope he's all right. Well, anyway, let's have a gin. I can't even make a quick trip to the baker. I just don't know where to begin. The bath overflowed. What? One for the road? Well, bugger, we've run out of gin. Over the hills, but never far away, he took us for a run on Boxing Day. After the oxtail soup, the ham, the tongue, we put on coats, thick socks and Wellingtons, and went with ritual grindings of the gear exactly where we'd gone this time last year. We took the scenic walk exactly too, my mother rhapsodizing on the view, my father silent, gazing straight ahead, as if already somewhere else instead. Then on the dot we'd take the same route back in time for fancy cakes and Uncle Mac. The game is always interrupted. No one takes it seriously at all. adjusted. Mother's left her glasses in the hall. Cousin Will keeps talking about money. Auntie Jean can feel a nasty draft. Grandma says it's probably the chimney. Father thinks that Cousin Will is daft. Mother still can't find her glasses. Cyril's making eyes at Auntie Jean. Uncle Jack keeps talking about horses. Grandma wonders if the chimney's clean. Cyril thinks that Auntie Jean's half-hearted. Both of them drive father up the wall. A wonder that the bloody game got started. No one takes it seriously at all. I'm a little fiver, quite pristine, issued by the bank today. On the front is a portrait of the Queen in brown and a multiple sort of green. Just right for a hole in the war machine, and I'm here in the cashier's tray. I'm a little fiver, not quite new, and living in Woburn Sands. They spent me at the turnstile at the zoo. I was dropped in a box for the lifeboat crew and stuffed down the brow of a you-know-who by a very cold pair of hands. A middle-aged fiver, almost clean. I'm showing some signs of wear. I've survived 3 rounds with a threshing machine. I've paid for a steak quite small but lean, and a good night out that might have been, but there weren't enough of us there. I'm a little fiver, old and grey and dirty and creased and worn. I've given much happiness in my day. They held me tight when they had to pay. I got whipped away though without delay, battered and chewed and torn. No more fibre, and that is that. I hardly feel worth 10 bob. I've scars from a very unfriendly cat. I've made 2 trips through a laundromat, and I'm all taped together so I can't lay flat. Now the shredder will do its job. Each afternoon they made me rest a while. I used to lie in bed from 2 to 3. I thought it was a lifetime, just like any juvenile. It seemed just like a punishment to me. The pictures in my prayer book told a story, everyone. This was the only book I was allowed. The wilderness, the miracles, apostles one by one. The light that shone so bright behind a cloud. The pattern on the curtain was a swirly sort of green, a multitude of faces hidden there. One I got quite frightening, and one looked like the Queen, another like a funny sort of bear. I remember, oh so clearly, all the faces that I knew. Nobody could see them there but me. The wind might part the curtains just a little when it blew, and I'd pretend to climb a conquered tree. I'd lie and think the sort of thoughts that wartime youngsters had, and watch the sunlight flicker on the wall. I'd hope the morning post would bring a letter from my dad, and whether I would see him home at all.
This world of ours is changing the way we entertain. The dying breed I represent may not be seen again. I've played to them all, dears, in palace of varieties. I've played to them all in my time upon the boards. I've played to them all in all stages of sobriety. It's worth a monarch's ransom if just one of them applauds. Short ones, fat ones, some as tall as that ones, thin as old Jack Sprat ones, come to the halls. Bad ones, good ones, some who never should ones, some as thick as wood ones, crowd in the stalls. I've played to 'em all, dears, I write my own material, I've danced and I've sung, and I've tinkled on the keys. The audience is artisans, or lords, or managerials. It doesn't really matter, just so long as I can please. Black ones, white ones, come in every night ones, packed in very tight, like peas in their pods. Broad ones, slumped ones, none too flippin' bright ones. Glory, what a sight ones, up in the gods. I've played to 'em all, dears, the ones that stay for hours, dears. I've even played in showers, dears, and out in the sun. I've played to my favourites, those who's one of ours, dears, and those who throw you flowers, dears, and I love 'em, every one. I've played to them all, dears, from every walk of life, dears. I've played to their majesties, I've played to the poor. Joe Public and his wife, dears, I've done it all my life, dears, but now they twist the knife, dears, because they've said no more. Whelks and winkles, jellied eels, all displayed on little dishes, can't affect the way one feels, can't make loving less delicious. For though my Sam sells ices just a little further down, we might as well be working at the opposite ends of town, 'cause our local borough council, without giving any reason, says we can't change pitches in the middle of the season. So here we sit apart, but when we close down for the night, he comes to see me home, and then, well, everything's all right. He says, "Hello, Sally," I says, "Hello, Sam." When he's around, I dunno where I am, but when he gets right close to me, then where I am is where I want to be. I know he's only next but one along the promenade, but that's what makes the pain of separation extra hard. Perhaps it's just as well we've got our pitches at a distance, 'cause being side by side we take the line of least insistence. It's so much more romantic when I say, "I love you, Sam," than "Jellied eels, all fresh, all juicy, go down lovely, ma'am." And romance goes when some old granny comes, 'cause tender hearts don't go with tender gums. And how can you be gay when every wish is smothered in an atmosphere of fish? I'll smiles at him, he waves at me, we share a moment's bliss, till some old sailor hollers, "Where's the flaming pepper, miss?" That store between us, though it's small, is quite a stumbling block. Who'd think that love could come unstuck on sticks of lettered rock? But Sam's got his pitch and I've got mine. He's number 7 and I'm number 9. Maybe it's just the way of fate, but I wish, how I wish, that one of us was 8. A traveller was walking down a cold and windy street. He saw the door ajar, entered the public bar. "Landlord, can I buy a drink and something nice to eat? I fancy some crusty bread and roast beef of old England, fresh butter from the churn and a pickled onion too. And if you think you could draw some bitter from the wood, I'd be quite content to sip a gentle pint or two. I'll sit by your fine log fire and ponder on the infinite. The quiet of your hostelry shall seep into my heart. And if a regular should chance to come into the bar, maybe I'll entice him to a contest with a dart." "Come in," said the landlord. "We've got pre-packed fish paste sandwiches and tasty instant sausage which we purchase by the ton. So if you fancy it, we could defrost a bit, serve it up with ketchup and a supermarket bun. I'll serve you a plastic pint of quaint old English ready brew. It's advertised on telly by a famous rugby scrum. No dirty barrels here, we serve hygienic beer, safely paralysed inside this aluminium drum. Sit down by the fire, squire, I'll switch the logs on presently. How about a game of pool or else the fruit machine? 3 cherries in a row, that should set your heart aglow. And how about some rock and roll to really set the scene?" The traveller sat down beside the polystyrene ingle nook. The plastic beams were jumping to an electronic sound. He started to bite and chew, took a sip of ready brew, gave a ghastly gurgle, and fell dead upon the ground. "Oh dear," said the landlord as he switched the colour telly on. "Another fatal accident, the 4th this week, I fear. If they can't hold their own, why don't they stay at home? God, we don't half get some funny customers in here." Here's a crowd of youngsters like sparrows, all a-twittering, 18 to the dozen as they pile through the door. They're sure to come from Gerrard's Cross or Chichester or Wittering. They're Gileses and Fionas, and we've seen 'em all before. 4 pints of your worst, squire. Now what about the others? Can you make a Pimm's, dear boy, with all the gubbins in? That takes care of this crowd. Never mind Carruthers. He had Buck's Fizz for breakfast, and now I'm told he's on the gin. All right, Ross. Oh, Angie, such a super party. I hope I wasn't naughty. Oh, really? When and who? Well, let us blame the champers or the vodka or Frascati. Now I'm dying for a ciggy and I'm busting for the loo. They all say ya and yow, which is Kensington for really. They drink martini actually and always smoke guitars. They're so intensely British to describe them pretty fairly. They visit us for drinkies and to swap some jolly yarns. Wimbledon, those strawberries. Now anyone for rowing? Henley, Lords and Ascot in a hat to watch the Queen. Tell your boss for me, Giles, that everybody's going. The party's such a huge one, it covers Cook and Dean. The Deb, along with escort, he's something in the city, chatting about Twickers, will always get the blame for being young and noisy, which is really quite a pity. For those of us who criticise, I'm sure we're just the same. I get up each morning and dust off my wits. I pick up the paper and read the obits. If my